Morning brings back the heroic ages. There was something cosmical about it, the standing advertisement, till forbidden, of the everlasting vigor and fertility of the world. The morning, which is the most memorable season of the day, is the awakening hour. Then there is least somnolence in us, and for an hour at least, some part of us awakes, which slumbers all the rest of the day and night. To the morning. By now you've seen the YouTube videos titled, "This is your sign to go all in." That's how the YouTube algorithm works. One person makes an original concept, and then the copycats follow. I'm not admonishing this, I've done this myself, and in fact it's something that I teach and advocate for inside my own coaching program. But I find it to be a genuinely very annoying and unhelpful title. The truth is many of us have been going all in at our life, the degree that we're able to for some time. At least I know I have. But I'm still hit with the seasonal bout of malaise. I periodically get this feeling of discomfort from having been in the same place for too long. The slower we move, the faster we die. Make no mistake, moving is living. And yet, if you don't have a strategy or a framework by which you're pursuing the next season of your life, you might find that you're moving as fast as you can. You're pedaling hard as fuck, but you're still stuck in the same place. Here are 4 ideas that will help you alleviate that feeling. The first one is this: chase your reality. Christopher Nolan had once given a speech at Princeton in which he told his listeners to not just chase their dreams, but rather chase their reality.
We've started to view reality as the poor cousin to our dreams, in a sense. We've started to think of reality as this kind of grey pebble at the center of wonderful abstract thought that transcends it.
This was his way of saying chase what is possible and find meaning in that which is possible. The truth is, chasing reality is in fact incredibly exciting, but the temptation that we often have is to chase lofty dreams instead. And it almost sounds as if I'm being a pessimist by saying this. Be realistic. Don't chase your dreams, chase your reality. But it is the opposite of the truth. Here is what chasing one's dreams entails. I'm gonna win an Oscar. My goal is to win an Oscar. But no matter how much visualization you put yourself through, this is not a goal that you can work towards directly. And if it took Nolan 30 years into his career to win his first Academy Award as for Best Director, you and I certainly should not be setting ambitions that are outside of the parameters of reality. What does it mean to chase your reality then? For a young Nolan, it meant working on numerous scripts while in college and then scrapping them, starting projects that fell apart.
4 kids, 9 films, or 9 kids, 4 films, I get confused, but lots of kids, lots of films later. We're still carrying it with us as an experience.
Then ultimately completing his first feature, which is Following, which he shot with his friends on the weekends for a year. The idea of chasing one reality is a difficult one, because if you were to break down what is actually possible for you, if you weren't bullshitting yourself and really thought, based off my track record, here's actually what I can do, it might not sound that exciting. My videographer once gave me a talk on the phone, and he confidently broke down how he would arrive at $50,000 months in personal income, which was magnitudes larger than what he was making at the time. I told him that he is better off chasing his reality. What is an absolutely realistic improvement that is there for the taking? Our first duty is to find excitement in that. This brings me to the second idea. What can you achieve in 100 to 120 days? I'm a big believer in periodization. Athletes use it all the time in their training, same with bodybuilders. They put themselves through cycles where they pursue one small area of progress and potentiation. A 3-month bulk, or cut, or shaving off 30 seconds per mile for a racing event. We deliberately find meaning in simply putting on 5 pounds of mass over 3 months. And on a long enough timeline, we understand that these cycles of periodized training will lead to amazing results. You do enough cycles of bulking and cutting, and you put in a couple years of that, you'll look fantastic. But when it comes to actually pursuing our own ambitions in real time, we often set our sights very lofty or get scattered and confused. And that's something I see all the time with the people I work with. If you want inspiration for what might be possible over the next 3 or 4 months, let me just take a moment to share one of my own goals. On February 10th of this year, I ran my third marathon for a time of 4 hours and 3 minutes. That was after a stretch of slow, plodding running through a Minnesota winter. Now, with spring on the horizon and the improvement in the weather, I have more room to do speed work, tempo runs, lactate threshold, run faster so that I can train my legs to have faster carryover. I know that with a rigorous training program, I could probably run a sub 3 hour 30 marathon. So I signed up for Grandma's Marathon, which is known to be one of the faster courses in the Midwest, and we'll be running that in June of this year. That's a 16-week training block. Now, by itself, I want you to understand that this goal doesn't mean that much to me. It won't change my life because the real ambitions that I'm after, which is to write and direct a feature film, that has very little to do with running. And yet, I can still find meaning in this goal. Sometimes I feel that perhaps I don't, but this morning, when I was out on a tempo run, and I was hitting 8 minutes per mile for the first time for several miles in a row, it was incredibly exciting. I can promise you, you will find excitement from chasing your reality, chasing what is actually possible. And that is actually the real way to tell the universe that you are going all in. The third idea is this: make your 3-month ambitions your entire universe. It's hard to be a man in the modern world. I'm sure it's hard to be a woman as well, but at least speaking from the male experience, many of us are after status. Many of us thrive from competition and victory. In fact, it's been logged that when you win over other people, that winner's effect takes effect and a man's testosterone levels actually go up from victory. And yet the nature of the world today is that it is very hard to prove to yourself that you are winning, because the second I open up Instagram, I can see hordes of people who are doing everything that I'm pursuing at a higher level than I am. And so you have to stop and forcibly make your own ambitions and make this periodized amount of time your entire reality. It does matter. Your pursuits do mean something. And you can't give up the fight in your own life just because there's a world out there telling you that what you're doing has already been done. There are plenty of people who have run sub 3 hour marathons or made film projects superior to anything that I'll be able to make this year. But when I'm in the thick of my efforts, when I am wrestling with my reality, it has meaning. It feels fantastic, and that malaise begins to go away. So here's my advice to you. Make your own ambitions the entire universe. Fuck everyone else. Do it because it's there for the taking for you.
First mile is always the hardest. But we must never give up. Never give up. Let's go.
And the fact that God or the universe gave you yet another day to pursue these ambitions, which are possible, they're there for the taking, that is a tremendous boon. And in fact, it swells my heart with pride and gratitude to know that the Lord has given me another day to take what is possible. Make your 3-month trajectory your entire universe. And the last idea I want to share with you is this: look for the third door. Alex Benayan was a young college student, pre-med, who ultimately hacked his way onto this game show, The Price is Right, which I know nothing about, but it's something that he said in the book he mentioned. And he used that money, the $30,000 he made from winning this game show, to basically fund his mission of doing interviews with the world's most hard to get access to and successful people like Bill Gates and Steven Spielberg. Ultimately, he made it happen, and this was through finding the third door, the third point of entry with each of these people. His philosophy is that success always has 3 doors to it. There might be the front door, the back door, and yet there is always a third door. In some cases, the third door might be like taking a rock and smashing a window open and climbing through it. It still gets you into the building. And he found that a lot of these people that he spoke with, they ended up taking the third door to success. Steven Spielberg, for example, was rejected from film school. So what he did was take the Universal Lot studio tour, and as he was on the tour bus, he sort of hopped off in the middle of it and would dart past security or wave at security saying, like, hey, like pretending he knew them, and then spending his time hanging out with editors and colorists. People just sort of assumed he was an intern or something, and they let him walk around the lot for months. And this is actually his breaking into the industry.
But the editors embraced me, and all of them did. I probably learned more in editorial sneaking around here than I did on any soundstage.
Success is just like that. As you chase your reality, you need to also keep your eyes peeled. It isn't always going to be drudgery. It's not always going to require that you simply pursue what is in front of you. Subtle quantum leaps will be available on rare occasion. You might find a third door into a lot of the things that you want. In fact, over the years, as I pursued work in acting, I learned a lot of different outreach strategies, and I realized that you can get a lot of people's contact info, email addresses. You can actually digitally get in the door with a lot of different people. I was able to take meetings with casting directors and talent agents that I should not have had access to simply because I was looking for the third door. But essentially, as you're working towards your goals, as you're working towards your 3-month horizon, keep your eyes peeled for that third door. In essence, I do agree that you should go all in, but it should be done with calculation, not recklessness. Chase what is possible, and the path will continue to reveal itself to you. If you're new to the channel, my name is Nikhil. This channel features the occasional video essay for creative artists and people who are pursuing their dreams. If that's something that interests you, then consider subscribing. If you like the style of video that I make and you want to grow your own YouTube channel, you want to know what it means to script effectively and speak with authenticity so that your videos sort of have a reality and an impact on them in a world that's becoming increasingly speedy with content creation, I actually have a coaching program. It runs for 12 weeks at a time with cohort sizes of just 5 to 6 students, so it's very personalized. And we basically learn what it means to be an effective YouTuber, strategies for growing a channel, what I've learned over these last just 6 years to get my channel to the audience size that it is right now. If that's something that interests you, you can check it out. Should be the first link in the description box below. Additionally, if you want sort of a larger framework on this idea of setting goals and setting goals in 100-day time horizons, me and my editor had actually shot a course together 2 years ago that I finally launched. It's called 100 Days of Momentum, and it covers just that. A lot of it covers like my strategies around breaking through periods of malaise and having the best 100 days of your life. I've sort of ran myself through this protocol a handful of times now, and I used it to go from being out of shape to deadlifting 4 plates, running a sub 6-minute mile, which ultimately is not that impressive of a feat, but if you saw where I was coming from, you would find it very impressive. So if you want to check that out, that is also in the description box. Lastly, if you want to connect with me further, you can find me on Instagram. These days, I'm sharing the process and the behind the scenes of a feature-length film that I'm working on. If any of that interests you, you can find that in the description below. But with that being said, for those of us who chase our reality, to us I say, greatness is coming. We'll catch you next time.